All right, people, you guys are tuning in to another Nomadic Coal video for your guys' entertainment. Be sure you guys leave a like, leave a comment, share, and of course, subscribe for more epic, awesome, cool, funny content just like this one right here, right now on the Nomadic Coal YouTube channel. Again, be sure you guys leave a like, leave a comment, share, and subscribe. I made this video out of the blue. I know probably not a whole bunch of people are going to tune in because I didn't announce it beforehand. So it is a little out of left field, and I understand. But I think, you guys can watch it after the fact, after the video is posted. And, oh, we got one person watching. That's a good thing. But, it is... I wanted to make this video because I wanted to talk about other third-party options, because I know I've talked a lot about Joe Biden, and I've talked about Donald Trump, and I've talked a lot about RFK Jr., but we haven't really addressed the other third parties in the room. So let's talk about those third parties. Shall we? Let's talk about it. So let's start off with our first third-party candidate, the one that was just nominated this morning. It is Rexus Prime says, calling the Danes, death will not wait. Fury and danger comes the Crusader, Black Magic SS. Interesting. All right. Hey, I'm on 1 bar mobile data, so probably won't be able to stay on stream for long. I mean, it's fine, bro. I mean, I'm gonna post the video, so it's gonna be okay. But let's talk about, let's talk about it. Let's talk about third parties. And the one I wanted to talk about was a third-party candidate that was just nominated the other day, and that is the new Libertarian nominee, Chase Oliver. So Chase Oliver, from my research that I've been able to do on him, because this is how no-name this guy is. He's so niche that I didn't even know who he was. Like, I see a picture of him with a suit and a tie, and that's what you get on Google, really. And there's like a little Wikipedia page. Rexa says, hey Doge Lord, I'm doing mentally better now. I sent you a friend request on Discord. Yeah, I'm glad Rexus Prime is back on Discord so we can chat. That's always nice. But yeah, I mean, I did my research on this guy. and here is the interesting thing. So first of all, he's gay. He's also a Democrat, or former Democrat, that is now a Libertarian. He hasn't really done a whole lot over his career. I mean, he did some stuff with like a company, some sort of like accounting or sales representative company, from what I looked into. And he's like run of the mill. He's also was for the vaccine mandates in the coronavirus times of 2020. And that is a little bit worrisome and not very libertarian of him, coming from a libertarian myself. And the other thing as well is that he once ran for senator. He lost, but his running for senator helped get Warnock and Herschel Walker, the Dallas Cowboys football legend, to go into a runoff race. So that was interesting. The next guy I wanted to talk about is the Constitutionalist Party's Randall Terry. So let's talk about Randall Terry. Well, Randall Terry, he hasn't really done much in years. The only thing that is even memorable from Randall Terry is this.
One more thing. Jesus told me to make Randall Terry gay.
So there you have it. Randall Terry was the guy who was famously roasted by what's it called? I guess you'd just call him a joke candidate. Yeah, basically a satire candidate, Vermin Supreme. He was roasted by Vermin Supreme, and that, of course, destroyed his political career. So, on to the next one. Let's talk about Claudia de la Cruz and Karina Garcia with the Socialist Party. Let's look into them because they have a campaign video up.
The newest data suggests the U.S. economy is slowing down.
The Roe reversal is setting off ripple effects as states implement abortion bans.
Another train derailed outside Detroit today.
The number of Americans living without homes, in shelters, or on the streets continues to rise at an alarming rate.
Does it ever feel like the political system is working against us? Like regardless of who we vote for, the outcome is always the same? We're told this country is a democracy, but more and more it feels like a corporate regime. No matter which party is in power, only the rich ever come up on top. Today, the richest 1% or more wealth than the bottom 90% of Americans combined.
On top of that, heat waves, floods, and hurricanes are becoming a regular occurrence. Artificial intelligence is threatening to replace millions of jobs, and the threat of World War III is more serious than ever. Humanity is facing nothing short of an existential crisis, and what do the two parties offer us? Culture wars meant to divide us, and breadcrumbs disguised as solutions that come nowhere near meeting the scale of the problem.
Let's just say what we all know deep inside. Career politicians and real estate moguls are never going to save us. Corporate America has two parties. Shouldn't the working class have at least one? I am Claudia de la Cruz.
And I'm Karina Garcia.
And we're running for the President and Vice President of the United States on the ticket of the Party for Socialism and Liberation.
We're not career politicians, and we don't have billionaire friends. We're educators, community organizers, and mothers.
You don't need to tell us that the working class makes this country run. I'm from the South Bronx, and we know what hard work looks like.
I know this country wouldn't last a day without the working class. So isn't it about time that we take charge?
This campaign is for all of us living paycheck to paycheck. We're working multiple jobs. For all of us who are sick of watching the rich get richer while we can't even pay our rent.
We don't just want to tax the billionaires. We want them out of power entirely. We need to seize big pharma, seize big tech, seize the big banks instead of letting them run our government. We need an economy that puts the people before profit. An economy built to generate prosperity for everyone, not just a handful of billionaires.
This campaign is not a one-time thing. We're running to build a political organization that finally gives voice to the working people of this country. It's time to stop going around in circles while the elites change places every 4 years. We think this country deserves a better option, a socialist option.
So there you have it. It is the yeah, Randall got burned, Dr. Doge Lord. But there you have it. That is the Socialist Party of America, and that's their platform. Now, I only would say that I agree with their sentiment on towards the two-party system. Like, that's the only thing we actually agree on. And we agree that there's a few of those problems they brought up, but they don't even have the solutions for it. Thoughts on the Socialist Party of America? Let me show you them right here.
I can see it in the things you do. Communism, socialism, call it what you like. There's very little difference in the two.
Ain't I right? Ain't I right? Ain't I right? I appreciate your passion and honesty, but due to my bank account was way better under Trump. Herschel Walker was much more famous before Dallas. Agree to disagree. Good luck, dude. Okay. Fizz Crank is in the chat. I never seen Fizz Crank before. Interesting. Communism and socialism never worked in any country. I mean, it's true. It's true. I mean, come on, man. I mean, really? Do you really think... Rexa says, fuck you, YouTube, for deleting my comment, making a joke at the expense of socialism. Yeah, darn it, Susan. Susan's deleting your comments. I hate Susan. She's so terrible. I hate Susan. Like, Susan is the worst. She just deletes everyone's comments, and she loves censorship. That's what Susan does on YouTube. But yeah, I mean, it's like really, are people actually gonna vote for the Socialist Party of America? I mean, these people are like, these two ladies are these two DEI higher woke ladies that they don't understand anything about politics, and that's why they're socialists in the first place. They're dumb. They're not that smart. They don't have any good policies. I made a video on socialism a while back on why it wouldn't work in America. And there's a difference between general welfare and socialism, by the way. There's a major difference between them. So don't say, oh, well, building your roads is socialism because it comes out of taxpayer expense. No, that's a general welfare and the things that the public can actually agree on. Is completely different than putting 1% of the class in power and starting up basically a totalitarian regime is completely different. It's a completely different thing. It's a lot different than taking everyone's private property. The difference between building a road and having police officers versus private property versus taking everyone's private property. It's completely different. Just because a country has public property, like every single country in the world, doesn't mean they're a socialist country. Just because taxpayers pay into goods and services like a police force or a fire department doesn't make that socialist. Just because we have Social Security doesn't mean that we're a socialist country. It means that we have general welfare. Especially, our citizens should be allowed to retire at some point instead of working till they're 90 fucking years old. Technically, Doge Lord, communism did succeed in the fact that it's a doomsday cult. I mean, basically, I'd agree. Yeah, I'd agree. And next, let's talk about Jill Stein. Now, Jill Stein, everyone knows Jill Stein, the Green Party candidate from she was from the 2016 race. I mean, she kind of helped. Like, the good thing about Jill Stein is that she kind of helped cost Hillary Clinton the race. I mean, between Trump and Clinton, I mean, everybody's going to take Trump every single day of the week, right? I mean, Clinton is just horrible on all the issues. Now, if it was Bernie Sanders and Clinton, it would have been a different story. I think Bernie Sanders would have beat Trump. But Clinton is no, Clinton's no good. She's corrupt as fuck. I mean, Bernie definitely has a lot of things that he says that I disagree with, but I would say that there's a few sentiments that I find fascinating and interesting about Bernie Sanders, and I would say that he has at least been consistent his whole career, which is kind of hard to ask from some politicians, because a lot of politicians aren't consistent, like Joe Biden, for example. But I mean, Jill Stein it's not the same Jill Stein that you saw in 2016. I mean, she wasn't polling amazingly in 2016 either, but at least she broke like a 3% threshold. Now Jill Stein has been polling between 1 to 3% in all the polls, and it's just not looking good. She's essentially running off of environmentalist climate, Green New Deal, climate change, and the Israel-Gaza war. And unfortunately, I mean, the Socialist Party and Cornel West are also running on the Israel-Gaza war as major issues to their campaign. So it really seems like it's not looking great for Jill Stein. Now, I respect some of Jill Stein's sentiments, and I've looked at her. I've looked at her page, and there was a couple of things that I could nitpick out that I would actually agree with or find as an interesting idea. But I mean, overall, the policy is just not. It's like fairy tale policy. It's just not going to work. And unfortunately, just like Jill Stein's poll numbers, Jill Stein too is falling down.
You get back. That's just fucked. That's just fucked. That's just fucked. You get back. Hold the line.
So there you have it. Jill Stein was at a pro-Palestinian rally, pro-Gaza rally, where she got shoved down by a police officer with a bicycle, and then she got arrested. So that's also not a great look as a president. I mean, unless you're trying to appeal to a niche handful of activists, I guess. But, it's just getting arrested when you're running for president isn't exactly a good look, if you ask me, Skip. And now let's get to Dr. Cornel West. Now, here's the thing about Cornel West. I looked at his page, and I looked at Jill Stein's page. And I think someone might have copied someone's homework. Because a lot of the policies on Cornel West's page and on Jill Stein's page are basically the same. In fact, I think a few of them were worded word for word, verbatim, off of Jill Stein's campaign page. Now, last time I checked, plagiarism isn't something that is held in a very high regard for doctors. So, interesting. But let's go ahead and look at what Dr. Cornel West has to say here.
Terrorized, traumatized, and hated, and we dish out love warriors and freedom fighters every generation, which means that we stand in solidarity with anybody who's occupied, anybody who's subjugated, anybody who's exploited, and that's why we focus on Gaza at this moment, because a genocidal attack is taking place.
Yeah.
10,000 dead and 4,000 precious children. And don't let anybody tell you that because you love Palestinians and Palestinian babies that you hate somebody else. It just doesn't follow what our brothers. We don't hate Jewish brothers. We don't hate Jewish sisters. We don't hate Jewish siblings. We hate a vicious Israeli occupation. We loathe and we hate a vicious siege against Gaza. And the least we can do at this moment of overwhelming barbarity is have a ceasefire. And yet you got these cowards in Washington, D.C. talking about a humanitarian pause. Please get off the crack pipe. Wake up. See the humanity of precious Palestinian brothers and sisters. And the American empire has the nerve in this building to veto a humanitarian pause with our precious Palestinian brothers and sisters being bombed. What kind of country are we? What kind of people are we? And we send a message to Palestinian brothers and sisters and siblings in Gaza, you are not forgotten. We see you. We focus on you. We give attention to you.
So there you have Dr. Cornel West's speech there. Hold on. Rex's Prime says, I don't speak woke socialist candidate who endorses Biden. Biden can help me. Can someone help me translate this, you mean? There you go. Did Hamas operate Gaza and how even Israel funded him? I mean, yeah. I mean, I want to say this. I agree with the sentiment that we should not be committing, or not us, but Israel should not be committing war crimes in Gaza, which is something that actually happened today. It kind of pissed me off that there was war crimes that just happened in Gaza today. They just bombed a fucking tent encampment. Can't believe that shit. But, however, and I also agree that Cornel West has he has a charismatic style because he's a former preacher at his local church. You know, he has that charismatic pastor type of style, which is an interesting thing. That, you know, that's why he's a good public speaker. But I just can't agree with a lot of his policy. A lot of his policy is neo-Marxist, and yeah, Hamas was funded by Israel. That is a thing that should be mentioned for people who are wondering about this war. It's something that should be brought up to attention because Hamas was funded by Israel. The whole point of funding Hamas was because Israel wanted to destabilize the region so it would be easier to control, right? Have these warring factions fighting against each other, not have any competition with them and their trade routes and whatnot. And of course, it backfired in their face, sparked terrorism, and you know, a lot of Israeli bureaucrats say we wish we didn't do that. But you know, it's what's done is done. You've already paid them their money, and now they are a terrorist organization that is doing a lot of damage, and it's just a terrible situation all around. You really got to feel for the Palestinian civilians. They're stuck between a rock and a hard place, between Hamas and Israel carelessly committing war crimes. Rex says Russia is currently building up forces for an offensive to take over Donetsk and fully conquer the Donbass. Uh-oh, that's not good. I mean, I thought Russia right now is kind of like really like they've been on the ropes because this war in Ukraine, this proxy war, has taken a lot out of them. I mean, it's just a grueling trench warfare. It's slow. It's, you know, it's I mean, even with the drones, it's just a slow, grueling trench warfare in a cold, wet, and rainy and snowy environment. It's definitely gonna be very hard for them to try to take over anything else in Ukraine. But back to Israel Palestine. I mean, it's just you got to feel for the civilians, but at the same time, that is all Cornel West has going for him is this Israel Gaza movement, and there's two others competing with them. So, and I just could never bring myself to vote for Cornel because of his neo-Marxist policies, and I just find that so off-putting. So I don't know. I would never give my vote to Cornel West. Anyways, that's pretty much all I got to say. I mean, we've pretty much covered all the third-party candidates. We covered Chase Oliver. We covered Randall Terry. We covered the socialists. We covered Jill Stein, and we covered Cornel. That's all I've got to say. So thank you guys for showing up and coming to watch this live stream. There's actually more of you guys on the live stream than I expected. Rex says, "Oh, and Russia is fully prepared, by the way. They're pulling forces from Kharkov, most likely for a diversion, so they can take Donbass, less heavy resistance." I don't know. I think the UN's probably going to give Ukraine more weapons, so it might be tough for them. But it's unfortunate that this war still has to go on. I mean, that's why I want to vote for Kennedy, because I want to get the Minsk Accords restored, so that way they could just stop fucking fighting already. And yes, have a good night, everybody. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and if you guys enjoyed it, be sure you guys leave a like, leave a comment, and share and subscribe for more. This is the Nomadic Cole signing off.